Hello, my name is Rasmus. I'm a global product lead here at Google and I work on a healthy app ecosystem. Today we will talk about new strategies for improving ecosystem integrity. So what does that mean exactly? It means that by the end of this session, you should hopefully have a pretty good idea about what we are doing to improve the ecosystem and what features we have in store for you. We will be looking at how we have been removing bad actors from the ecosystem. We will take a look at our work with industry bodies to increase transparency, such as IAB and TAG. And then we will have a look at what we're doing to evolve our platform to help you comply with regulations and user privacy laws all around the world. So first up, what are we doing to foster a healthy and clean ecosystem? Over the years, it has been very important for Google to secure that we have a healthy digital ecosystem that benefits both users, advertisers, and publishers. This is especially crucial in times like these of uncertainty where COVID has been impacting the economy all over the world. As an example, we actually saw some bad actors were posting ads for on-demand products such as face masks, janking up the prices and charging way too much. We also saw other merchants that was not fulfilling the orders, and it was just a very bad experience overall. So now we have a dedicated COVID-19 task force that is working around the clock on both new technology and detection mechanisms to get rid of these bad actors. In 2019, we removed more than 2.7 billion ads. That's around 5,000 ads a minute. That's a lot. We also removed about 1 million advertiser accounts from our platform. On the publishing side, we terminated around 1.2 million accounts as well. And all this is to improve the experience and the transparency and a better ecosystem for everyone. We know that we cannot do this alone. We think that the only way that this can be done is that if the whole industry comes together on unified standards on how to fight invalid traffic and remove bad actors from the ecosystem. That's why we are working very closely with the IAB and TAG on different initiatives to increase transparency. So let's just first talk about what is transparency and what is the benefit of transparency. If you have a transparent ecosystem, it makes it very hard for bad actors to abuse the system and commit fraud that makes sense for them from an economic perspective. When that's difficult, you will have fewer bad actors in the ecosystem and it improves the overall trust for the advertisers. The advertisers would better be able to justify their media spend and evaluate the performance of their campaigns. And in the end, that should shift more budgets towards digital advertising. And that's what it's all about. Let's talk about counterfeit inventory. What is counterfeit inventory and what are we doing to fight it? Counterfeit inventory is also known as spoofed inventory. It's basically when you say you are someone else. Imagine that I'm a small publisher and I notice that there's a huge advertising demand for buying inventory from NewYorkTimes.com. Then, if I'm saying that I'm NewYorkTimes.com and I'm not, then I'm selling counterfeit inventory. That is one of the major problems in the web world, and it also exists in apps today. That's why we have introduced app-ads.txt on web, and recently we have launched app-ads.txt for the app side as well. So let's talk a little bit more about how is app-ads.txt helping and how can you implement it and what do you need to do. So how does app-ads.txt work? App-ads.txt is a very simple solution that is able for you today and you can implement it and you can reach out to your account manager to know more. But very simply, it is you who upload a text file on your website. And then it includes all the publisher IDs from all the different technology providers that you work with that are allowed to sell your inventory. Then you add that URL to the metadata of your app store, both on Play and iOS App Store. Then the sell-side platform that you work with, such as AdMob, will include that URL in the ad requests, and it's then up to the advertising platforms to crawl that URL and to crawl the App Store listings to see if the IDs matches. And then you will be able to know as an advertiser if the account that you are buying from is really allowed to sell inventory from that app. And that way you can distinguish if you're buying from the real deal. What are the key benefits of app-ads.txt? It benefits both publishers and advertisers. First of all, publishers will gain control of their inventory to make sure that nobody else can sell their inventory if they're trying to. And that way you can protect your brand. On the advertising side, they know that they're buying from the real publisher, and they will reduce their spend that is going to waste by spending on the bad actors. And that way it will benefit both the advertisers as they're spending less money, but more money will flow into the real publishers. Another project we're working on with IAB is Sellers.json. It differs from app-ads.txt in a few different ways. App-ads.txt is communicating the publisher account IDs that is allowed to sell inventory from the publisher to the advertiser. However, it does not expose the name or the business name of the accounts. So the advertisers don't really know exactly who they're buying from. The only thing they know is that the ID is allowed to sell the inventory. So let's take a detailed look on how Sellers.json differs from app-ads.txt. It differs in a few different ways. First up is who published the file. For ads.txt, it's you, the developer, who published the file on your own URL. For Sellers.json, you don't need to publish anything. It's on the platform to publish this file. So Google will have one single file with all the different IDs and all the different business names. And that will then expose the business name of each single publisher ID to the advertisers. If you choose to still be anonymous, we will not include you in the file. So what is the rollout plan for Sellers.json? The rollout plan is that we have already launched it actually in beta the last few weeks on Ad Manager, where we have the file public so the advertisers can go in and see what are the business names behind the different Ad Manager accounts that are selling. Soon we'll be rolling out to both AdSense and to AdMob as well. And we will be providing you with information around what you need to do in your AdMob account. And if you choose to change your name, how can you do that? By reaching out to your account manager. So please stay tuned for more information in the coming weeks around how we will launch this. Now let's change gear and talk about regulation. You all know about GDPR. It has changed the way that we all do business in Europe and around the world as well. We have a lot of other regulations coming up. One thing that we will be talking about in this presentation is CCPA in California. You might already know about it. You might already have taken action. But I want to show you what we have built in the AdMob platform to help you. We will also have a quick look at other things. We will be evolving our consent solution. So when GDPR first launched back in May 2018, there was not a really good industry standard for how to deal with this. So we had to build our own. And some of you have already been using our consent solution. I'm pleased to announce that we will be working with the IAB to soon launch support for the transparency and consent framework launched by IAB version 2. As well as we will still be supporting our existing consent solution. That means that you can use our platform no matter if you choose to do one version or the other. So let's have a quick look at the Transparency and Consent Framework version 2 from IAB. It consists of three major parts. There's a CMP part, which is the consent management platform, with guidance around how CMPs should gather consent from users and how they send it to the different platforms. There's also a TC string or transparency string, consent string, which is basically a binary code and guidance for how this information is leaving the CMP platform to the advertising platforms and the sell-side platforms, and how this is being passed around, this consent. And then you have the GLV, the Global Vendor List, which is a registry of all the ad technology providers that have registered with the IAB and are supporting this solution. So you can go in today and see if the technology providers that you work with are on this list and will be supporting this. And this will keep on being updated. So please have a look at that as you go along. We'll be migrating our consent solution to Funding Choices. That means that we'll be deprecating our existing consent SDK with a new version of the SDK, and we will introduce Funding Choices into AdMob. Funding Choices is Google CMP. It's important to note that you can work with any CMP out there that you want. But to simplify it for you, we want to give you the option to work with Funding Choices. We are committed to make sure that Funding Choices will stay updated with all major regulations. And it's integrated in the platform, so it's easy for you to rephrase your consent message and everything directly from the platform. So we are very excited about that. We also know that not every single ad technology provider will register with the Global Vendor List from IAB. So we'll be supporting both that solution and our existing solution, meaning that you will also be able to not just pass the transparency consent string, but also an additional consent string from vendors that are not part of the Global Vendor List. We are still in progress of finalizing exactly how this looks like, but very soon we will be sharing tech specs with you so you can start implementing this. More regulations coming up all around the world. As mentioned before, you all know about GDPR. We will talk about CCPA in this presentation as well. But we're also very closely watching other regulations that are in proposal around the world. There are things coming up in Brazil. There are other major proposals in India. You also have New Zealand, South Korea. So all over the world, there's an increased focus on privacy. In the US, there's also a lot of speculation about what will happen. So first launched CCPA, but what will happen with the rest of the states? And we'll have keep a close eye on that and make sure that our platform is up to date to help you. So 3% is the answer. Can you guess the question? The answer is actually that we took a sample of EMEA publishers and we looked at how big a part of their revenue actually comes from impressions generated from users in California. And that was 3%. That means that it's very likely that you currently have around a 3% exposure to CCPA from your current setup. You may have already done something to address that, but I want to show you a few options that we have built into AdMob to help you with this. But first, let's have a look at CCPA and what it is. The main thing about CCPA is that the law says that you need to add a link that says, do not sell my information, to expose that to the users if you are selling personal information. If you are selling personal information as part of advertising, that's up to you to decide with your legal team to interpret the law. It's important to notice that we do not give legal advice if the way that you operate will fall into that. But we are committed to give you options to handle this. So let's look at the options in AdMob. Under blocking controls in AdMob, we have added a new setting page around CCPA. That means that you very easily, if you just want to be safe and sorry, can turn off all personalized ads for Californian users. So basically NPA signal. If you choose, you could also send it on a request basis. So if you decide on a specific request that you want to show non-personalized ads, you can do that. You can reach out to your account manager to learn more about how you set that up. Coming up soon, we will be adding a new section to this page, which will allow you to select specific advertisers that you will allow to buy users from California. So please stay tuned and we will launch this very soon. Thanks everyone. This was all I had for today. I hope this gave you some good insights about how we are fighting every single day to keep the ecosystem healthy and beneficial for everyone. And I'm looking forward to answer your questions a little later.